This is the governor's remarks.
That would be really.
Get the governor to sign it.
See if we can, let's see if we can get them from him when it's over.
I don't know.
Yeah, yes. All right. Oh, somebody's walking the check. Oh, is this my water? I wonder if this is out of the governor.
Stage
Like
five.
if it was his, if they put it over there, it's mine. He probably has all kinds of things. He's what I get for saying something. It would be like a cargo pants for us.
Right. My chick was. I'm candies.
Back there.
Oh, okay, good.
Or whatever else you need.
This 202?
Very impressive navigation. The only one.
I want to thank everybody for being here, and I especially want to thank people who made today possible, and that is your very own State Representative Candy Noble. Thank you for your leadership in this. She was the author of the House bill that I'm about to sign, and the Senate sponsor was Angela Paxton, who also joins with us here today. Also joined by some nearby representatives, Katrina Pearson and Jeff Leach. Didn't I say that? I didn't. Yeah, I thought I said your name. Carissa Richardson is here also. And we have Congressman Self. Thank you very much for being here. Listen, an issue that so many people, not just in this area, but across the entire state of Texas, have been very concerned about, and that is this Epic City project. What is it? What does it mean? What are the consequences of it? So we wanted to make sure that we passed a law that would fully address those concerns. One of the issues at stake is the freedom of religion. Another issue at stake is what's called the right to contract. The fact is, religious freedom is a central part of the Texas Constitution. But bad actors like Epic and Epic City tried to use religion as a form of segregation. Epic proposed an Islamic-only development just outside of Plano. They provided that buying property in the development was structured so that only Muslims would be able to buy that property. They also structured it so that owners who had bought it, a piece of property there, but wanted to later sell it to someone, they were required to sell it only to people who were Muslim, or either sell it back to Epic City. That is blatant religious discrimination. The development was structured in a way that requires anybody who bought a lot there to abide by Sharia law. That is illegal in Texas. It violates our laws and our values, and imposing Sharia violates the Texas Fair Housing Act. It also violates the law that I'm about to sign, because the law by Candy Noble and Angela Paxson comprehensively addresses not just Epic, but also any compound like Epic, making sure that these compounds will not be able to be built in the state of Texas. This law prevents them from creating no-go zones. It prevents them from selling or renting land only to people who follow Islam. It prevents them from controlling who a buyer can sell their property to. It requires disputes to be resolved by Texas law and Texas courts, not Sharia law. It empowers the Attorney General to shut down developments like Epic and to halt any further development. And while I'm on this topic, I need to discuss a related issue that is taking place in Houston, Texas. I want to comment on recent stories of a Houston area imam who insisted that Muslim-owned businesses must follow Sharia law rather than Texas law. I have what I think is a quote from the imam, and he says, if you live in the neighborhood, you are bound by the rule of the mosques. That is false. It is illegal. No neighborhood in Texas is governed by Sharia law. To be clear, Texas law and Texas courts govern those businesses and those neighborhoods. No ranting imam can change that. The imam that I'm talking about is now under investigation by the Texas Department of Public Safety as well as other law enforcement agencies. The bottom line of all this is this. Imposing Sharia law and principles is illegal in Texas, whether it be on homeowners or businesses. And we will ensure that we have the laws in place that will prevent that, as well as the law enforcement in place to prevent that. So now I'm going to sign this bill 4211. The ban on Sharia law in Texas is now strengthened. And now, Candy Noble.
Thank you, Governor Abbott. I cannot tell y'all just how grateful I am to you that Governor Abbott and his team have been so instrumental in helping us draft and craft a bill that fits so well with Texas law. And I want to thank the people of Heritage Ranch for hosting us today. What a great group they are. And I want to mention that Senator Paxton and the other senators that helped pass this bill, what an amazing, by the way, the Senate passed it unanimously. And the House passed it overwhelmingly as well. Chairman Leach, thank you for being one of my joint authors on this bill. Representative Shaheen and Richardson and Pearson, I'm so grateful for y'all's help on this bill. Nothing gets done in Austin without a group effort, and we did have an amazing group helping on this legislation. I am not an attorney, and I had some of the most brilliant attorneys in Texas helping me to craft this bill, and I'm so very grateful to the governor and his team for their help on that. He's already given you a little background, but let me just tell you a little bit why this is such a weird situation and how we had to thread a needle that didn't affect other, living arrangements in Texas. You see, Epic City development, for a significant investment, at least $80,000, a person might qualify to become an investor. Then you might get to build on that. Was it a MUD? Is it a timeshare? Is it a PID? What exactly is it? So we are looking at something we've never seen before in Texas law, and it took some creativity to draft a bill that didn't affect those like you that live at Heritage Ranch and other areas, but to make sure that we stopped something that was egregiously against our principles as Texans. And so what we do know is that the developer, the executive director of the developer of Epic City, they're known as Community Capital Partners. I'm just going to quote some of their quotes so you can understand where we're coming from. They said, we will limit sales to only persons we believe will contribute to the overall makeup of our community. Another taped interview, he said, investments are non-refundable, period. Investments are non-refundable. And he further asked, when someone asked if they could transfer their share, yes, but only with permission from CCP, and CCP will have the first right to purchase that share, and there will be some time restrictions, and restrictions on to whom the share may be transferred, meaning your shares cannot be sold away, and then only to certain approved, accredited investors. This may mean that you have to hold your investment for years before selling. And for those of you that are in real estate, you understand that meant that there would never have been a realtor sign in this development. And that is certainly not the Texas way. In fact, in Texas, home ownership means something, and we want to protect that meaning for every Texan. And so today, Governor Abbott, I am so honored that you're here and that you're signing this bill, and that the Senate and the House passed this overwhelmingly, and that we are at this point where we can protect Texans so that their home ownership means something.
Good job. One of the most important things the legislature can do is to be responsive to our constituents and to respond to your needs, to your urgings, and that is exactly what the Texas House and Texas Senate did by banning not just Epic City, but any potential development like this going forward. So give it up for the Texas legislature, both the House and the Senate. We'll take a few questions. First, thank you for wasting no time to get off topic. And I will come back to you shortly, but I want to make sure these folks have an opportunity to ask on-topic questions. Sure. Sharia law would generally be defined as requiring people to comply with either the rules of Sharia, the rules of Islam, the rules of a local mosque. Because to be clear, you need to read only one thing: the Texas Constitution. Texas Constitution prohibits discrimination on the basis of religion. Period. Yeah. Sure. I will tell you this. Somewhere like right up here, there's like a vent or something, and I'm going to need you to speak up. So be louder. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there was not a need or maybe even a desire to specifically reference Epic City, the law, because the law is intended to be far broader than just Epic City. The law is intended to do several things, and it had to tackle in detail exactly what Candy Noble was talking about. What the Muslim leaders of Epic City did, they were very strategic in the way they created this development so that they were able to make it so that only Muslims would be able to buy this property, but they knew they could not say that. So they had to create program after program after program, and which would create certain buying arrangements and certain reporting arrangements, all that kind of stuff, that would allow a structure that on its face, you don't find any words that, well, they're banning people who are not Muslim. And it required lawyers, like what we have, to be able to look at the details of this and find out that the development structure as designed, like Candy said, would prohibit anybody from actually selling a property they bought. They would have to go to the leaders of Epic City, and the leaders of Epic City would decide whether or not the person you want to sell it to is suitable. And what does that mean? What it means as applied to Epic City is whether you are or you're not Muslim. So let's be clear about this, what the law does. It makes clear, regardless of which religion it is, people are not going to be able to establish these comprehensive, large-scale developments that limit only people of one religious belief to that area. And you can only buy if you're part of that religion. You can only sell if you're part of that religion. Religious discrimination is in violation of Texas law, and this provides a detailed roadmap about how to prevent developments like that from taking place in Texas. Correct. So what you said, Kara just said, is at odds with what she said the lawyers for Epic City said. And so they can't both be right. Either it does nothing or is so destructive. The bottom line is somewhere in the middle. What it does do, very simply, it prohibits developments like this from being limited on the basis of religious belief. Period. It's that simple. Sure. So the investigation by the Funeral Commission into Epic City was spurred not by any government or government employee. It was actually spurred by another provider of funeral services in the community. When a provider of funeral services files a complaint with the Funeral Commission looks into it and then acted on it in this case. So we're focused today on ensuring that no religious belief, whether it be Islam or any other religious belief, is going to be used for religious segregation. What happened here was a development that created religious segregation with a hostility to any other religion, and that's un-Texan. Yeah. Sure. No, I remember it like I remember your face. So let's be clear about several things. One, there are concerns by everybody, being members of the House, members of the Senate, myself, and I'll say the general public, that we want to make sure we do everything we can to protect our kids. And the fact of the matter is, we had a lot of opportunities, and I put a lot of ideas on the table to make sure that we took action by both the House and the Senate to deny these products to our kids. That was not passed and gotten to my desk. And so I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to let a day go by without doing something about that, and that's why I issued my executive order to direct the Texas Department of State Health Services to make sure that they're going to pass the regulatory rules necessary, for one, to ban these products from our kids. But while they're at it, go ahead and begin creating a structure to regulate the marketplace for this, trying to do as much as possible to get dangerous products off of the market, while at the same time not going beyond the bounds of the legal authority that would exist by a regulatory agency. Some of this, can and should be done by the legislature. Because it wasn't done by the legislature, I wasn't going to delay and trying to act as strongly as I could to try to reduce this product in the marketplace. Thank you all very much. So I went down that whole row shaking hands. You weren't